Impeachments to inaugurations. If it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired.
I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill. We know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Over the next few minutes, we'll bring you all the latest updates from the United States and around the world. But before we get to that, here's a look at the latest headlines. The United States agrees to a plea deal with 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and two other terrorists. The three accused have been spared from the death penalty after 27 months of negotiations. The Director of National Intelligence accuses Cuba of interfering in the 2024 presidential election. U.S. intelligence officials say Cuba is running targeted political campaigns in Florida against candidates who oppose Havana's communist regime. A Canadian warship sails through the Taiwan Strait in what Ottawa calls a commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. China, however, accuses Canada of undermining peace and stability in the region. Nigerian police fire tear gas to disperse hundreds of demonstrators rallying in the capital, Abuja. This as protests against the government erupt over skyrocketing inflation. And India sends humanitarian aid to Haiti, including 9 tons of medical supplies. This as the Caribbean nation witnesses a collapse in its healthcare system amid rampant gang violence. We begin in the Middle East, where the Israeli army has confirmed that Hamas military chief Mohammed Deif was killed in an airstrike that was carried out last month on the 13th of July. During the strike, Israeli jets dropped precision-guided bombs in Central Gaza, killing almost 90 Palestinians, including Deif. Now, Hamas has dismissed Israel's claims of Deif's demise. However, Israel says it has concrete evidence that the Hamas military chief was in fact killed in the attack. Mohammed Deif was second in command and the mastermind behind the October 7 terror attack on Israel, which started the war in the region. Israel has accused Deif of initiating, planning, and executing the October 7 massacre, and the Israeli military also said that Deif was involved in several attacks on Israeli civilians over the years. Now, after the confirmation of Deif's killing by the Israeli armed forces, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant congratulated military personnel and vowed to pursue the remaining Hamas leaders who were planners and perpetrators of the October 7 attack. The Israeli Defense Minister also said that Hamas was now on a path of disintegration and that the remaining members would also be eliminated. Now, it's worth noting that the Israeli military's announcement about Deif's confirmed death comes just a day after the killing of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh. In fact, the confirmation of Israel came during Haniyeh's funeral procession in Iran's capital, Tehran, where he was killed by an alleged Israeli airstrike. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei personally led Haniyeh's funeral as thousands of Iranians joined the procession. The messaging from Israel on Haniyeh's and Deif's killings shows that Israel will go after any and all of its enemies, even if it risks igniting a larger regional war. And staying in the Middle East, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reportedly ordered a direct attack on Israel. Now, this is in response to the killing of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran on Wednesday. And according to media reports citing Iranian officials, Khamenei gave the order at an emergency meeting of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. The meeting was held shortly after the country announced that Haniyeh was killed in an airstrike at his home. Now, both Hamas and Iran have accused Israel of plotting the murder of Haniyeh, who flew from Qatar to Iran to attend the inauguration of the new Iranian president. However, the Israeli government has refused to comment on these allegations. In fact, on Wednesday, Israel only claimed responsibility for the killing of a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon's Beirut.
Did target Fawaq Shukar. He was the number 2 in the Hezbollah organization, a dastardly terrorist with much blood on his hand, not just Israeli blood, but his blood of Americans and other nationalities as well. We know that Hezbollah are a unit of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard. They're a proxy army. They're fighting us. They mean to destroy us. They say it very openly. And we must do our utmost to protect our people. That's what we did. On Ismail Haniyeh, we are not commenting on that particular incident.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he delivered crushing blows to Iran's proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah, in recent days. Now, without mentioning Haniyeh's killing, Netanyahu vowed strong retaliation for any aggression against Israel from any arena.
Citizens of Israel, challenging days lie ahead. Since the strike in Beirut, there are threats sounding from all directions. We are prepared for any scenario, and we will stand united and determined against any threat. Israel will exact a very heavy price for any aggression against us from any arena. Since the beginning of the war, I have made clear that we are in a fight against Iran's axis of evil. This is a war of existence against a stranglehold of terrorist armies and missiles that Iran wants to tighten around our necks. In my speech to Congress a few days ago, I mentioned 3 main branches of this axis of evil: Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollah, the 3 H's. In the last few days, we have dealt crushing blows to each of them.
Meanwhile, Israeli media reports say that messages have been sent from diplomatic channels to Iran that Israel is willing to fight an all-out war if Tehran and its proxies launch any attack against the country. And Khamenei has reportedly instructed the Iranian military to prepare plans for both an attack and a defense. Some reports suggest that the Iranian military has prepared its assets to strike military targets in the Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa. However, it's still unclear how forcefully Iran will respond. But what we do know is that Iran's supreme leader has vowed retaliation against Israel, saying that he sees avenging Haniyeh's death as his national duty. And shifting to the war in Europe, in a major boost to Kyiv's offensive capabilities, the first batch of eagerly anticipated F-16 fighter jets have been delivered to Ukraine. The delivery has been confirmed by senior U.S. military officials, Lithuania's foreign minister, and several Ukrainian lawmakers. Built by the American firm Lockheed Martin, the F-16 jets have been on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's wish list for a long time because of the aircraft's multi-role attack and destructive capabilities. Nicknamed the Fighting Falcon, the F-16 has been the backbone of the U.S. Air Force and several NATO air forces since 1974. A single-engine aircraft that's been claiming air superiority for 4 decades now. The fighter jet is equipped with an internal Vulcan cannon and has 11 hardpoints that can deploy bombs, rockets, and missiles. The F-16 can also be configured to deliver a nuclear payload, making it one of the deadliest American war machines to take to the skies. NATO members, including Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway, have pledged to donate around 50 F-16 jets to Ukraine to fight Russia. Now, under the supervision of the United States Air Force, Ukrainian pilots and ground staff have been training on the aircraft for months. After delivery of the jets, President Zelensky said that the F-16s would be vital to protect the skies over Ukraine. He also added that a robust air defense system along with the fighter jets would be needed to defeat the quote-unquote Russian terrorists.
It is very important to build up Ukraine's ability to defend the sky. We are doing everything possible for that. If we can reach such a substantial result in defending the sky from Shahed drones, then it obviously proves that we can be stronger in defending the sky from missiles and in defending it from Russian military aviation. It depends on the weapons in the arms of our warriors. We need reliable air defense systems. We need sufficient range of our weapons. Russian terror must lose. It must lose every time the occupier tried to wreak life in Ukraine.
The Ukrainian president has promised that with the F-16 jets in the hands of his pilots, Russia will be forced on the back foot before winter sets in. Meanwhile, in response to the latest developments, Russia carried out nuclear drills and claimed that the F-16 jets would not be a game changer in the war. Only time will tell how the lethal F-16s will perform in the air and how Kyiv plans to use these jets to turn the tide in its favor. And here in the United States, in a shocker, former President Donald Trump has questioned whether his Democratic rival Kamala Harris is really black or changed her racial identity for political gain. His remarks came while speaking at a convention for black journalists in Chicago on Wednesday.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
The interview between Donald Trump and the panel of journalists quickly intensified as he continued to make provocative comments on the vice president's race.
Always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is?
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
Now, to be clear, the vice president was born in Oakland, California, to an Indian-born mother and a Jamaican-born father, and has long identified herself as both South Asian and black. In 2021, she made history by becoming the first female, first black, and first Asian American vice president. Now, the White House was quick to respond to Donald Trump's comments, calling them repulsive and insulting.
As a person of color, as a black woman who is in this position that is standing before you at this podium behind this lectern, what he just said, what you just read out to me, is repulsive, it's insulting, and no one has any right to tell someone who they are, how they identify. That is no one's right. It is someone's own decisions. I'll add this. Only she can speak to her experience. Only she can speak to what it's like. She's the only person that can do that. And I think it's insulting for anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a former leader, a former president. It is insulting. And we have to she is the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We have to put some respect on her name, period.
Meanwhile, Vice President Harris addressed the contentious remarks herself, saying it was the same old show by her Republican rival.
This afternoon, Donald Trump spoke at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists. And it was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better. The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. They are an essential source of our strength.
Meanwhile, Trump's running mate J.D. Vance echoed the same critique of the vice president's racial identity, calling her a phony for talking in a fake Southern accent during her recent rally in Georgia.
Kamala Harris is a phony who caters to whatever audience is in front of her. I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week, look up the clip. She went down to Georgia and started talking with a fake Southern accent. I'm serious. Now, what the hell was that all about? Kamala Harris grew up in Canada. They don't talk like that in Vancouver or Quebec or wherever she came from. Doesn't matter. It's the same new liberal policies, but a different accent, whoever she's talking to. Now, on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent because we are going to send her packing and we're going to elect Donald Trump President of the United States.
Now, since launching her campaign just a few short weeks ago, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee has faced sexist and racist attacks. And the attacks on her racial identity come just a day after a series of opinion polls showed her ahead of Donald Trump in key battleground states and closing the gap in other states such as North Carolina and Florida. Now, with about 3 months before voters head to the polls, it seems like Donald Trump's desperate attempts to blunt the vice president's momentum is doing anything but. And moving from Donald Trump's provocations to actual cause for a fistfight, billionaire tech titan Elon Musk and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro have taken their social media war to a whole new level. Maduro has challenged Musk to a brawl, which the Tesla CEO has accepted. The two larger-than-life personalities have even put forward their winner's demand. Our next report brings you more details as we dive into the fiery exchanges and the improbable showdown that has everyone talking.
In a surprising twist of modern geopolitical drama, billionaire and tech mogul Elon Musk has accepted a public challenge to fight Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on national television. The announcement has set social media ablaze, adding a new chapter to the escalating animosity between the two. The feud between Musk, CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, and Maduro, the embattled socialist leader of Venezuela, has been brewing amid the political and economic turmoil in Caracas. Even though it is no secret that Maduro's recent election victory has been widely contested with accusations of fraud and suppression of opposition candidates. Maduro, in this charged atmosphere, has found a formidable critic in Musk, who's used his social media platform X to denounce the newly elected Venezuelan leader. It all started when Maduro accused Musk of orchestrating cyber attacks against Venezuela, including an alleged hacking incident at the National Electoral Council. Maduro claimed that Musk was behind these attacks to undermine his presidency and described the move as a broader imperialist plot.
Elon Musk, estás desesperado.
Elon Musk, you are desperate. You went off the rails. Elon Musk, control yourself, or you will fail just like this right-wing led all American politicians to fail. Elon Musk, whoever messes with me dries up. Whoever messes with Venezuela dries up. Elon Musk, you want to fight? Let's have it. Elon Musk, I am ready. I am a son of Bolivar and Chavez. I am not afraid of you. Elon Musk.
Musk, known for his brash online persona, then quickly took to X to respond. He said, "I accept," sparking a flurry of reactions. He then further taunted Maduro, calling him a big guy, and taking a dig at Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg by referring to him as a little fella. Very quickly, Musk then escalated the stakes with a bold wager. He posted, "If I win, he resigns as dictator of Venezuela. If he wins, I give him a free ride to Mars." This audacious bet highlighted Musk's flair for dramatic showmanship, even as it underscores the serious political undertones of the confrontation. However, Maduro's response to Musk was then equally provocative. He accused Musk of plotting to invade Venezuela with armed forces, blaming Musk to be hiding behind his money and satellites. Musk's response to the Venezuelan leader was sharp and in Spanish, and addressed him to be a donkey. He then later issued a sarcastic apology, adding that the comparison of Maduro to a donkey was an insult to the animal kingdom. The backdrop to this bizarre challenge is Venezuela's contested presidential election. Maduro, whose victory has been marred by allegations of electoral fraud, have faced mounting criticism both domestically and internationally. Opposition leaders claim that Maduro's victory was achieved through manipulation, citing irregularities and the barring of key opposition candidates. And the election results, which showed Maduro winning with 51% of the vote against retired diplomat Edmundo Gonzalez, have led to deadly protests and widespread arrests. So for now, it remains a captivating spectacle, drawing the world's attention to the ongoing crisis in Venezuela and the larger-than-life personalities at its center. It also remains to be seen if the proposed fight between Musk and Maduro does happen. The surreal blend will reflect the chaotic and unpredictable nature of contemporary global politics.
And finally from France, where President Emmanuel Macron's extravagant state banquets for King Charles and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have sparked a major financial outcry. With star-studded guest lists and lavish menus, the cost of these dinners have averaged $500,000, raising eyebrows and questions about fiscal responsibility. So how is President Macron's office defending this splurge? Our final report explains what exactly is on the menu.
In a grand display of French hospitality, President Emmanuel Macron's office hosted two opulent state banquets that together cost over $1 million, drawing scrutiny from the country's top audit office. The lavish dinners held for Britain's King Charles III and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi significantly contributed to a record deficit in the Élysée Palace's budget. The first of these grand affairs took place in September at the historic Palace of Versailles, where King Charles III was honoured with a star-studded banquet. The guest list read like a who's who of the glitterati, including Rolling Stones frontman Mick Jagger and actor Hugh Grant. The menu was nothing short of extravagant, featuring blue lobster and crab, Bressie poultry with mushroom gratin, a selection of fine cheeses such as French Comté and British Stichelton Blue, and a rose macaroon dessert with rose petal cream, raspberries and lychees. This sumptuous event, echoing the decadent tastes of Louis XIV, cost the French presidency over $500,000, with over $178,000 spent on catering and over $43,000 on drinks, including a bottle of 2004 Chateau Mouton Rothschild. Then, just a few months earlier, in July, the Indian Prime Minister was also feted with an equally grandiose Bastille Day banquet at the Louvre. This event, capped by a personal tour of the museum's masterpieces by President Macron himself, came with a price tag of nearly $445,000. The Cour des Comptes annual report released on Monday painted a sobering picture of the financial state of the Élysée. The report highlighted a sharp rise in presidential spending, which soared to over $135 million, exceeding the budget by over $9 million. A significant portion of this overspend was attributed to the lavish state dinners, which contributed to a 14% increase in overall expenditure compared to the previous year, while revenue grew by only 6.5%. While the auditors acknowledged some efforts by the Élysée to control costs, noting its proactive measures in organizing more economical events, they urged the presidency to make significant efforts to restore and sustain the financial balance of the presidency, emphasizing the need for better event planning and more controlled spending on travel and entertainment. And among other budgetary concerns, the Cour des Comptes even criticized the Élysées' poor travel planning skills, pointing out losses of nearly $900,000 from the cancellation of 12 non-refundable trips. A single cancelled trip to Germany in July 2023 resulted in nearly $540,000 in wasted expenses, primarily due to transport and accommodation costs. The grand dinners for King Charles III and Prime Minister Modi underscored France's tradition of grandeur and its commitment to fostering diplomatic relations. Yet, they also served as a stark reminder of the financial challenges faced by the French presidency, in balancing opulence with fiscal responsibility. So, as the Elysee looks to tighten its belt, it remains to be seen how future state visits will be managed in the quest to restore budgetary balance.
We thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired.
I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on First Post America.